Here's a math quiz for you. Are you good at math? What do the following numbers represent? What do they add up to? 6 to 1, to 5 to 1, to 3 to 1, to 2 to 1, to 4 to 1, to 10 to 1. You're good at math, right? What does that add up to? Well, yesterday it added up to $436,787. That's because those were the morning line odds on the Rainbow Pick 6 horses that won, and one lucky ticket holder and skilled ticket holder took home $436,000. Hi, everybody. My name is Tom Quigley, VIP Player Concierge. Also, your seminar host for the next 35 minutes or so, but there's more to that story. Did you know that a player in Naples, Florida, at one of their OTBs played a $228 ticket on that same combination? But what did he or she do? They canceled it. That means that there was only one winning ticket in yesterday's Rainbow Pick 6, and we'll start fresh today. One person who always looks at the sky and thinks it's blue is my seminar guest for today. He's been on many times before. Not only will he give you a few winners on today's card, he's going to teach you some handicapping lessons and solid wagering strategies as well. I'm thankful to call him my good friend. His name, Leo Vukmanovich. Vukman, welcome to the seminar. Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday, TQ. Glad to be here, man.
It's great to see you here back in the studio. We've been here once or twice before, so thanks for putting in the work. Thanks for putting in the effort. But a question for you, Leo. You always, we kid you that we call you the king of caca, because no matter what the card looks like, you're going to try and make a lemonade out of lemons, so to speak. You never have a negative viewpoint. You never get down if you have a bad beat. Talk to us about psychologically how you kind of attack a day's worth of races.
Yeah, Tom. I've developed that over years. It's kind of like you take what you get. Like when you play cards and you get crappy cards, you just go with them. You try to figure out a way to make them work. One of the things that I look for, that the most important thing is, you try to figure out like where you could extract some money, and how do you do that? You look over the card and figure out where you could beat the favorites, right? And where do you think they're vulnerable? Or where do you think that they're going to get beat? A good example was yesterday in the fifth race. There was a favorite I thought had no chance. He ended up running last. And there was a horse that was that Flat Out, and then Starship.
Yes.
They ran 1-2 for
Sean
71.
McCarthy's horse.
Yeah. They ran 1-2 for $70 exacta. And if you played you could have boxed the other 5 for $1 in a super and got 1,400. So those are the key things to look for throughout the card. And then take the approach. Okay, where do I think my strength is within the card? And then that's where I gamble, right?
But you're not married to one bet, right, Leo? In other words, you might come into the day thinking you might want to play the 50-cent early pick 5 or maybe the Rainbow Pick 6, but then the odds board could completely change your mind if you think there's a false favorite or if you find value on the tote board.
That's a great question. It's a question that comes up all the time to me. I do a Zoom call once a week. We were just talking about that 2 weeks ago
with a bunch of Sharpies from around the country.
And someone asked, "Hey, how do you approach the card, or where do you know when to play a super or try or pick 3, pick 4, pick 5?" And the way you have to look at that is you look what you can get. Like for example, the first race today, there's 7 horses, right? I got a good angle on a horse. I'm going to take a shot with him. I make a win bet, make a double bet, use him in the pick 5, single him. Those sort of things. There's a race later on in the card where I don't like the A and B, the first and second choice, right? Where I've seen times where you could bet a 6-horse superfecta box for 360 and then get 4,000 or 5,000. So you got to take what they give you, and that's how you approach it. That's how I approach it.
And Leo, you spend more time thinking about the wagering strategy than actually handicapping the card. And you want everything pristine and perfect. In other words, you want your environment surrounding you to be the way you want it to be. You don't want people coming up and asking you a bunch of questions. You like solitude. You like, but you do, because that's very important for your success at the windows.
As a customer, I'm a pain in the ass, right? I mean, like I bitch about everything. But at the end of the day, that's so important to become a winning horse player, right? If you got distractions, if you got people trying to, I get people texting me all the time, giving me horses. Like I don't want anybody's horses, right? Or so I mean, I want my own, right? And I got to come up with my own strategic plan on the card. So yeah, the environment where I'm at, those things are super important for me to be successful in betting,
now
winning.
You had a successful Sunday. Last Sunday, you played in our $500 tournament. Normally, I only interview the winners, but you were the runner-up. You had a bad beat right on the wire, but Jeff Schmitz from Minnesota, who's obviously an Eddie Logan VIP, nailed you on the wire. But you had a really good day last Sunday, and you wound up winning an NHC seat, plus your bankroll, plus some prize money.
No, without it, yeah, it was great. It was what I did, one of the strategies that I used for that tournament is really you have to pick a number where you think you need to get to, and then target number, and then what you do is try to figure out the shortest way to get there. So you could take 300 and bet 300 on 2 2-to-1 shots, and that'll get you to 3,000. That's the way I think to approach it. I think what people tend to do is they'll bet, think about trying to bet 5 or 6 races and coming up with that's hard. I can't even do that, right?
You need to be a sharpshooter, right? You need to be kind of like an assassin and just nail 1 or 2 races rather than try and pick 9 winners on the card.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible to do.
Right, and that's the same thing I try to do, like in the early pick 5. Same thing. That's my favorite bet, and it's tough because the cards come up really short fields. And then how do you do that? We could talk a little bit about that when we talk about the first 5 races today.
We're going to talk about a lot, Leo, in the next 30 minutes. But before we do any of that, let's toss the microphone over to track announcer Frank Miramati and get the early program changes on today's Saturday's card here at the Great Race Place.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Santa Anita Park. Here are the early changes. The track is fast. The turf course is firm. The rail on the turf today is out 10 feet. The first race is the start of the 50-cent early pick 5. Blinker notes are always on the bottom of the program page. In the second, start of the early pick 4, scratch number 4, rookie mistake. Turning to race 3, just a blinker note. In the 4th race this afternoon, we have no changes. The 5th is the start of the Rainbow 6, and yesterday we did have a single ticket winner. And therefore, with the Rainbow 6 starting with the 5th race today, it'll be a fresh pool. Turning to the 6th, start of the late pick 5. No scratches or jockey changes. Pick 4 starts with the 7th. No changes. In the 8th, number 2, increase stakes, 2 pounds over. 9th race will start the golden hour pick 4. And in the 10th race, scratch number 1, the Giants Candy. Overweight 7, Swindler 2 over. 10, Hero Status 1 pound over. Enjoy your afternoon at the Great Race Place. Post time for our first is in 59 minutes at 1 p.m. Right now we'll go back to Quigley's Corner. Tom's special guest today is the Vukman, Leo Vukmanovich.
Sometimes the realities of life, Leo, get in the way of us enjoying playing horses. And what you're looking at on the screen right now is a friend that both you and I had the pleasure of interacting with almost on a daily basis at the racetrack. His name was John Davis, but he was affectionately known as Big John around the racetrack. You could see him not only here at Santa Anita, but also at Los Alamitos, also down at Del Mar. He loved the sport. Unfortunately, the news broke last Sunday late that he passed away at the tender age of 48. That was a tough one to swallow.
That sure was. And that picture of him that probably was, it's got to be, 15, 20 years ago, because he wouldn't be seen without a Yankee hat on, right? I mean, that's the thing. And John was a staple at every racetrack. At Del Mar, you could find him on the benches. He would always sit on the Eddie from Alhambra bench. You could find him right there when you walked in the track. So it was always time for a conversation, see how you're doing here. He was a staple in Suite 10. You could find him at Los Alamitos and the Vessels Club, but he never wanted to, dress up or whatever like that. So he sat at those tables that were, I think, more towards the grandstand side, so he didn't have to. But John was an interesting guy. He was hilarious. He was clever. He loved the game probably more than anybody we knew. I mean, he was a longshoreman. He was a hardworking man. And one of the things when COVID hit, that's when I really got to know him. I started getting all these DMs from him, asking about, hey, Quigley, what's the story? What, are we going to be able to get in? And I said, okay, if you got an owner's pass, you're good. And so he goes, okay, yeah, I'm good. But he was always so funny. And what's starting to happen is I'm finding out like everybody knew John. Anybody, and he knew everybody. And he's going to be sorely missed. I mean, Sebastian, who's my wingman and hang out with at the track, that was a good friend of his that he talked to every day. And John always had something, positive to say, clever, and everybody loved him. He was you always wanted to, if it was a simple nod or if it was like a 1 hour conversation, it was always a good result. And then he had so many good stories. I mean, he was one hell of a storyteller. But yeah, it's a sad day for us. And I think tomorrow we're gonna honor a race after him. That's what I understand, right?
His presence will be missed, that's for sure. He was a well-known character around the racetrack. Big John, we're going to miss you. And as you well know, Leo, life has to be for the living and enjoy every moment. And I know you and I both prescribe to that. And certainly that was tough news to share, but wanted to share it with the rest of the viewing public because I'm sure many people out there did know Big John. All right, Leo, on a much more positive note, let's take a look at today's car, kicking things off in race number 1, which begins the popular 50-cent early pick 5. And we're on the turf course. 1 1/8 is the distance. The rails today are at 10 feet. Calbred maiden special weights, a field of 7. Current betting choice is number 5. Cool Acclaim, now 2-1 on the tote board. Original morning line favorite number 3, just about enough. A little bit cold on the board. 5-2 morning line, 4-1 on the tote board right now. Give us your thoughts on race 1, Leo.
Yeah, this I like race 1. I like the 4-horse Dark Marcus. This is an angle that I love. No disrespect, but Jose Hernandez is 0 for 18, and then Brian gets his horse. Brian Corner gets his horse. He puts one in him. He takes the blinkers off, so I think he's figured out what the horse needs, and I think he's going to run well. His works weren't that good, but I'm going to overlook that, and because those works are on the dirt and he's running on the grass. I love blinkers off, so that's a really good angle that I like when you see a low-profile trainer and a good conditioner and a good trainer pick up the horse, and they figure the horse out, and it's go time for this horse.
And you also like number 5, Cool Acclaim, to perhaps put on your 50-cent early pick 5 ticket, or maybe round out the exacta. This horse has been a little bit headstrong in both of his lifetime starts, but you like him perhaps to hit the board in start number 3.
Yeah, I think. Phil D'Amato, he's top trainer here. Same thing. He's going to figure this horse out. So I look for him to improve drastically, and maybe look for an exacta 4-5, and I'm going to use a double with the 4-horse and Dark Marcus.
And number 4, Dark Marcus, ridden by Ramon Vasquez, new face here in Southern California, shipped in from Oaklawn Park, has made a very positive impression up to this point. Let's turn the page, Leo. Take a look at race number 2. Begins the 50-cent early pick 4. This time we're sprinting on the main track, 6.5 furlongs of the distance. Allow its optional claiming types, non-winners of 1 other than. Scratch the 4, leaves us with a field of 5. Take note, the morning line favorite is number 1, Elector, 8-5 on the morning line. Spectacular in victory in start number 2. You expect another move forward here today?
I'm going to go against the 1 here. I think if you remember that day, that was like a crazy speed track that day, and I'm against that horse. I'm going to just single with the 2, McLaren Val. That was a horse that was actually shipped to run under the undercard at the Rebel, and then had some challenges getting on the plane and was claustrophobic. That's something that Tom Ryan tweeted out. And then I just think the horse is solid. One of the things that I tend not to go against is like he's a 3-year-old in the 1 and 3 or 4-year-olds. But I think this horse is going to be ready to run, and I'm going to single him and then play a double from the 1st to the 2nd.
And McLaren Vale, as you mentioned, is just a 3-year-old, Leo. But take a look at that race he exits. The San Vicente Forbidden Kingdom came back to win the Grade 2 San Felipe. The second-place finisher, Pinehurst, came back to win the Saudi Derby over in Saudi Arabia. So certainly that running line looks very live in retrospect. And you mentioned Tom Ryan. He's certainly a prolific owner from the Bob Baffert team, now in the barn of Sean McCarthy. And take a look at the sire, Gunrunner. Could not be more impressive as a freshman sire, throwing runner after runner, and perhaps McLaren Vale will be another runner to add to his prolific progeny up to this point. Race number 3, we're back on the turf course, going 2 turns, 1 mile is the distance. Fillies and mares, non-winners of 2 races lifetime. $25,000 is the claiming tag, a field of 7. Morning line favorite number 2. Looking so lucky, 5-2 on the morning line. What say you about race 3, Leo?
Yeah, race 3. There's an interesting horse in here that was on a long layoff and actually ran a Turf Paradise on the dirt, and is coming back on the grass. Has come back and worked well for Vladimir Sarin. And I think this is going to be a good spot for him. One of the things sometimes you have to look at too in the race, just look at the trainer standings here, and like look at this race here. There's a lot of, there's a lot of trainers that are not struggling and doing well. There's no disrespect to them, but I'm betting my hard-earned money, right? And so that's the thing I'm looking for. And then Bob has a horse on the outside. I just think some of these horses, if you look, they don't win very often, that sort of thing. And getting this horse fresh, and Vladimir, he's on the hot streak right now, so that's who I'm going with.
3 and 6 in race number 1, just to add to what Leo commented on his top choice, number 3, 1,000 Dreams. Vladimir Sarin is hitting at a 30% win clip at the meet, so certainly his barn is red hot, as Leo indicated. Also, you'll see if you have the racing form in front of you, this mare, I should say, returned at Turf Paradise off of basically an 18-month layoff. And I have a reason why the connections did that. Is now they basically made her eligible for the ship and win bonus. So that's another feather in her cap. It's also a second off the layoff for her. She's also taking a drop down in class. I have a feeling today is the money run. Hopefully we'll be able to get something close to 4-1 on 1,000 Dreams, Leo's top selection in race number 3. Let's take a look at race number 4. Back sprinting again, 6.5 furlongs of the distance. Maiden claiming $62,500 is the claiming tag. A field of 6. Morning line favorite number 4. Houndstooth from the Richard Mandela barn is 9-5 on John White's morning line. First time Lasix, first time dropping in against maidens. What say you about race 4?
Yeah, I'm against that one too. As well, yeah. No, at first I kind of looked at him and actually I was talking to Sebastian this morning about this horse, and again he ran on that fast day. Right, so the buyer's inflated, although I don't really care about buyers, but the time actually is pretty quick. And Mandela, he's probably got a lot of 2-year-olds. He's looking for some space, and then he's just looking for the horses that aren't doing very well in his barn. I went to the 1. He's an interesting horse. I think his workouts on the comeback, they seem to be okay. Looks like he's going to come from a little bit off the pace. And I just opted for him just based on the rest of the field. So it's not a strong race for me, but I'll single the 1 and any horizontal bets that I make.
And number 1, Maxim Moment, as you can see, is owned by our friend Slam Dunk Racing, and we talked about the ship and win bonus. Maxim Moment is also eligible for the ship and win bonus as well, Leo. Question for you before we take a look at race number 5. We've analyzed 4 races. 2 times you've already mentioned the track profile. I know you spend a lot of time paying close attention to the way the track is performing on a certain day, and you're a big believer in biases. It might be a speed bias, it might be a path bias, it might be an early speed or rally wide type of bias, but you look for those things and you take note of them so that you can apply it going forward in interpreting a horse's form.
Yeah, without a doubt. If the last couple of weeks, if you notice, you've seen some horses come from off the pace where previously there was a good run where you had to be in the 1 or 2 path on the inside and the horses on the outside were treading water. So what's kind of cool is you look for those, you get those ones that are on the outside coming back. And that's, those are some of the angles that you look for to try to get some value and get a good price, right?
And we had one in race number 3 yesterday that Craig Lewis, first-time starter, a progeny of Clubhouse Ride, kind of missed the break, rallied wide. That was an impressive move visually, like you said, Leo, because that's a move we don't see very often. But now that the track's allowing that to happen, so to speak, that's something to take notice of because you can use that knowledge down the road.
Yeah, that's exactly great point.
Let's take a look at race number 5, Leo, on today's 10 race card. That begins our 20-cent Rainbow Pick 6. As mentioned in the opening, 1 winning ticket in yesterday's Rainbow Pick 6. That means we start fresh, no carryover. And we kick things off here in race number 5, going 1 mile on the turf course for 3-year-olds, allowance optional claiming types, a field of 8. There's a few in here for available for purchase for the high claiming tag of $100,000. But the morning line favorite from the Ryan Hansen barn, fresh off a victory yesterday, number 3, Barsabas, 5-2 on John White's morning line. I found this to be a difficult race, Leo.
Oh, me as well. I was looking for some value here, and one of the things that I subscribe to Andy Harrington workouts, and he has a good work, and he thinks this horse could run a little bit. And that's the 4, Baladi, and he's another horse that qualifies for ship and win. He's doing something. He's stretching out. He's never been on the grass yet. But I think he could. I think his breeding indicates that he could do that, and he's putting some blinkers on, and he's doing some things to change up to hopefully end up with some good results. So that's who I'm on, and then for second, I probably play exact and maybe 4 with 1-2. With the one he I think he's got he's going to be ahead of the two, and so that's why I chose him over the two.
4-1 in race number 5 to kick off the 20-cent Rainbow Pick 6. Just to add what Leo said about his top choice, number 4, Bellotti, you can see ridden by Juan Hernandez. He's having a dynamite meet now that Flavian has vacated town. He certainly is in demand as one of our leading riders. And trainer Michael McCarthy obviously knows his way around a good horse. The longtime assistant for trainer Todd Pletcher, as Leo mentioned, puts blinkers on, goes on turf for the first time. We like changes as handicappers, right? That's what we like. We don't want to see status quo. We want to see creative things. We try, and just like Wayne Gretzky, we don't skate to where the puck is. We skate to where we think the puck is going to be. That's what made him such a great goal scorer. That's what makes you such a solid handicapper.
Oh, great point, Tom.
Race number 6 begins the 50-cent late pick 5s. 5.5 furlongs sprinting here on the main track for maiden claiming Calbred fillies and mares. Field of 11 here. The claiming tag, by the way, is $50,000. Morning line favorite, a daughter of Clubhouse Ride, number 4, Warren's Queen Bee, 5-2 on the morning line. Looks like a spread race to me, Leo. What say you?
Yes, this is a great example of a race I love. The favorite, the first favorite and the second favorite, like we call A and B. I don't like either one of those, right? And so
that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, so there's so many different things you could do here, and this is a good example of where like when you choose what type of bet you're going to make. Well, this is where I'm going to play try, exacta, super. I might even go super high 5 if hopefully maybe there's a carryover in that. But that's what I'm going to attack. And not only am I going to do this vertical, meaning those type of bets, I'm going to also use this horizontal where you could take a group of horses with that you think that have some value and high odds, and that's how you get a good outcome, and you get good prices, and you get a good score.
So with that as a introduction, who are the runners we should use in race number 6?
Yeah, I came up with 6, 8, and 10. I'm going to give 3 here. I might even use a couple more after that. The 6 horse, Palio's Princess. It's Rockingham Ranch Stable and Ruben Alvarado. That says enough. I don't have any works. I know Ruben's 4 for 8 as a first-time starter.
It's good enough for you.
Yeah, and the horse, if you just look at his pattern, looks like he hasn't missed. His last workout was a 6 furlong workout, so he's gone more than the distance. So I used him. The other horse I used too as well was Alex's Girl, David Hoffman's. Although he's 0 for 7 this year, if you go back and recall over the last 2 to 3 years, he's had a maiden claiming starters, winners, first out. He's got a pretty good high percentage with that.
And he uses the bug boy.
Yeah, and the workouts say that he's fit. And then the other horse was the 8 Dreamer Girl. He's had a couple outs, and then he's getting Lasix for the first time, and his works are good. He caught the eye of Andy Harrington. That says enough for me. And so I'm going to use Dreamer Girl at 8-1. So those are good value, good prices. I think the Alvarado horse will probably get bet, but and then if you look at the 2 favorites, their races they don't look very strong. They don't look like they're very strong, and the favorite actually has had 8 outs. So I mean this is what I dream for right here. This kind of race right here. Right? I'll empty my pockets.
This is what Leo lives for. That's for sure. And as a matter of fact, you talked about the prices, Leo. 8-1, 6-1. And also 6-1 are the morning line odds on your 3 runners, which is why you're willing to spread in the race, because obviously you'll get rewarded if you're right. You've mentioned Andy Harrington, who does such great work. If you want to find Andy's work, you can find it at nationalturf.com. He publishes a workout report for every single race day here in Southern California. It's 50-cent late pick 4 time. Come race number 7. We're back on the turf course. We're back running at a 1 1/8 distance. It's a starter allowance race for those runners who have started for a claiming price of $25,000 or less since 2020. We've got a field of 8 here. The morning line favorite, number 2, Irish Heatwave, 3-1 on the morning line. I'm old enough to remember one time when you hit the pick 6 when Irish Heatwave won a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I remember it now when you mentioned it, but I'm not good with remembering names of horses.
You live for today.
yeah, I live in the present. Yeah.
Let's talk about who you like on race number 7, Leo, and why.
This is actually a really these races, these starter races for $25,000. The purses are great. This is a new series that's been developed, and I like a horse really strong in here. And if you look at the 3 horse Dubby Doobie, if you look at his running lines, he just got claimed for $25,000, which makes him eligible for this condition. And then all these other horses, they come out of the same race and out of the Liberal race. And I actually bet Liberal last time. he got left and shuffled back and was pretty far back and circled the field and got up. But I'm kind of throwing everybody out of that race, and so I'm looking for a couple of different horses from there. So this is just going to be a strong play for me with the 3. And then the other horse that was interesting to me, I kind of bounced around a couple of horses, but then Big Buzz is a horse too that he doesn't come out of that. He doesn't come out of that race, and the horse won back on January 17th on the dirt, but then started in this mile and an eighth on the grass, which is the distance today. And I think the jockey's like really hungry, and I think she does really well. And if I ever wanted to become an agent, I think I want to be her agent, because she's a hardworking girl, and I hope she can have some continued success. But I like betting on her. She's really good.
One thing we know, Leo, is Jessica Pfeiffer, who is riding Big Buzz back today, certainly fits this runner. The last 2 efforts wound up in the winner's circle, as you mentioned, 2 back, then finished second last time out. Sure seems like Jessica fits Big Buzz like a glove. You also mentioned number 6, Liberal, who you don't like today. There's people I know who hit the pick 6 on that particular day when Liberal won and circled the field back on March 19th. The winning payoff that day, $26,000. Congratulations to the people who had Liberal in the last leg of that particular pick 6. Race number 8, we're sprinting 5.5 furlongs on the main track for Calbred, fillies and mares, allowance optional claiming types, a field of 10. Number 5, Little Grays, and the 8-year-old mare Calbred is the 3-1 morning line favorite. The fields continue to be deep and juicy here, Leo. Give us your thoughts on race 8.
Yeah, this is another race that I like quite a bit. And this is an angle that I love. A horse that shows speed and then takes blinkers off. We have a friend, rubber band off, right? Like get the money out for that one, right? But he's taking blinkers off, getting Lasix. Doug O'Neill. The only negative thing, 3-year-old filly against Holder. And then down on the rail. But like we saw yesterday, it was a good example, right? Where I think it's not going to be against him by being on the inside. And then and actually at that 5.5 distance. One of the things that's interesting too about 5.5, what tends to happen when the track's playing the way it is today, you can get a closer, because all the jocks, everybody, they just go so hard, and then at the end they back up. Well, here's a horse, the 3 horse that I used as well, that's coming from Los Al. I mean, those races that he comes out of, they're fast as hell. And that this horse is going to be on the lead. I think he chops the 2, which is probably the horse that's going to get bet. But this horse is going to take him as far as they can. And then, like I said, hopefully the 1 could come off and he could stick. And if the whole thing claps, then I would use Smooth Like Butter on the outside. There's another horse, takes blinkers off, cuts back from a mile, going to 5.5. This horse will be coming late on the outside. So I like those 3. And I don't know who. I mean, I don't know who's going to end up being favored in this thing. I mean, they got Little Gray's a morning line favorite. I'm against that horse 100%.
It's simple, as Leo mentioned, 3-year-old filly tackling older, but certainly a lot of changes going on as we've been discussing. First-time Lasix, first-time blinkers off, or I should say blinkers off after the last effort. Sure looks like she bled that day, right? She showed speed and then backed out badly. She's been a bit of a layoff now, hasn't been seen since Breeders' Cup weekend, but you can see also gets a bit of class relief now in the first allowance condition, has been running in 3 consecutive stakes races since breaking her maiden on debut. That also indicates that perhaps she fires fresh. 10-1 on Leo's top selection in race number 8. Number 1, it's simple. Race number 9, because the $1 golden hour pick 4. Did you play it yesterday? Did you see the results? All you had to do was play Frank Scatoni's ticket that he gave out for $8. It came back in excess of $1,100. It always pays well because it's a higher minimum, lower takeout. That means better payoffs. And we kick things off here, Leo, in race number 9, going a mile and an eighth on the turf course once again. Allowance optional claiming types. Non-winners of 2 other than. We've got a field of 7. Take note, number 2 is a first-time gelding. Hong Kong Harry, fresh off a victory, taking a 1-level jump up in class, is the 2-1 morning line favorite for trainer Phil D'Amato. Give us your thoughts on race 9.
Yeah, before we get to the race, like getting an $8 ticket, I mean, that's incrable, right?
Great value.
What I would do with something like that is I would
press
bet
it
10 times. Yeah, that's only 80, right? So, yeah. And those are the things you have to do in order to be successful, right? You have to take something. If you're right, you're gonna get rewarded by doing that. And I learned that a long time ago about really pressing and doing that. Instead of taking a spread ticket, just really hone in on what you like and then really betting it a bunch of times to where you can make a score.
I mean, if $80 is too much, let's just say you press it 5 times and you spend $40. That's $5,500 back in your pocket for $40. I mean, where else can you gamble and get a return like that? You can't do it in sports betting. You can't do it at the casinos. That's what makes this game so great.
Yeah. Getting to the 9th race, I'm gonna single the 4, and I think this is a morning line favorite. So this is, I think, the only favorite I have on top. Yeah, this horse, the way that he ran last time, I just thought he was really good. He was bad. He didn't even break that well that day, and I just think this horse is going to move up the ladder and be strong. And then Phil D'Amato has another horse, the 3. That horse, when they come from Europe, sometimes they get them 1 or you don't know, you don't know what they're thinking, and that's what's kind of hard. But I like the 4. I think he's the horse, and I'm just going to single that horse to move on.
Pick 6, pick 5, and late pick 4 single. So says Leo Vukmanovich. Number 4, Hong Kong Harry in race number 9. We close out the day in race number 10, where we're sprinting 6 furlongs on the main track for maiden special weights. Also, race number 10 begins the $5 Golden Hour Daily Double. Similar concept. Last race here with the last race at Golden Gate. 1 scratch in race number 10. Delete number 1, the Giants Candy, will not compete. Leaves us with a field of 10. Morning line favorite, the first-time starter, number 10, Hero Status from the Mark Glatt barn. 5-2 on the morning line. This is a great betting race to end the card, Leo.
Oh no, this is fabulous. I came up with about 6 deep here. I'm going to give out 3, and the 3 that I think are going to make the impact. And the horse that I like on top is the 9. How do you even pronounce that?
We'll leave it up to track announcer Frank Miramar.
Yeah, there you go.
Bletchley Park.
Bletchley Park, yeah. And the horse cuts back. If you look at his first race, it's solid against a horse that, decent horse, Happy Jack. He cuts back. Who knows what happened to him that day, if he bled or not. And then he gets a top rider. He's on the outside. He's going to trip out, perfectly, I think. And then there's some other horses that have really good workouts that are really high prices. The 4, that horse is real interesting.
Look who trains.
Yeah, there you go.
Look who he lost to last time out.
Yeah, exactly.
Taylor's done okay since then.
Yeah. The one thing, though, JJ gets off, so I'm assuming he got to choose, or who knows, Vladimir might have wanted to go a different direction. We could maybe ask him and find out. I'm sure he would tell us.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. But it's okay. But yeah, here's a horse that's lined at 20-1. The other horses that work out, that have good workouts, the shorter prices, yeah, I might use. But then there's a real interesting one, the 6 horse with Mario Gutierrez. That's another horse. The handiness evident. Looks like the horse can run from the workouts. They paid $100,000 for the horse. The trainer, he's capable. I'm not the biggest fan, but those are the prices that I'm looking at, and really get around the 9 to try to make some sort of score here with that.
No chalk whenever we're listening to Leo Vukmanovich on the seminar. To give you an idea, in race number 10, to close it out, the morning line odds on his choices are 20-1, 15-1, and 5-1. Winners win, Leo, and that's why you win all the time. Thanks so much for your time and insight today. Continued success. Appreciate the time and effort you put into the seminar, and I'll see you up in the penthouse later on today.
There you go. Always a pleasure, boss.
Thanks a lot, Leo.
All right.
Thanks to all of you for watching as well. Hope you enjoyed it. Next voice you hear will be track announcer Frank Miramati, introducing the callers, also updating us with any late program changes. Good luck, everybody, and have fun.